introduce yourself?
Sir, my name is Vipin Kumar. I belong to Rohtak. I have done my graduation from DAV College, Chandigarh, and I have done my post-graduation from Postgraduate Government College, Chandigarh, in subject history.
History.
Yes, sir.
विपिन, रोहतक का फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल में क्या कंट्रीब्यूशन रहा है?
Uh, Sir, Rohtak was the center of political activity. Uh, Various important, the first session of Congress in Haryana was held in Rohtak.
In which year?
I'm not completely sure about it, sir, but I think it was in 1907 or 1908. And after that, Lala Lajpat Rai also used to visit Rohtak a lot. Apart from them, there were other leaders such as Tarbez Khan ji were there.
ओके विपिन, रोहतक की कोई भी दो प्रॉब्लम बताइए जो आपको लगता है कि आपके लिए फोरमोस्ट हैं एंड उनका सॉल्यूशन.
Sir, first of all, Rohtak is in the national capital region, so it has huge growth potential. And that is happening also. The growth is happening, but at the same time, the city is not well prepared enough in terms of resources or infrastructure to tackle that growth. So what we are witnessing now is haphazard growth. So that is the first problem, sir. Then second, sir, the employment opportunities are coming in a way, but the social culture is very vibrant in Rohtak, but the adequate skilling is somewhere that is lacking to cater to the new demands that market is generating. So these two are the problems, sir.
What's the population of NCR and how many districts are there?
Sir, I'm not completely aware of the population of the NCR, but sir, I think almost Haryana has 12 districts in NCR region, and there are 2 districts of Rajasthan and 4 or 5 districts of Uttar Pradesh. So I think it is above 20 or so.
Any district of Madhya Pradesh?
No, sir. As far as I know, there is no district of Madhya Pradesh in NCR.
The population is 4.8 crore.
Okay, sir.
विपिन, INS वगीर के बारे में कुछ बताइए.
Sir, to the best of my knowledge, it is a warship.
वॉरशिप और सबमरीन.
It's a submarine, sir, actually. And I am not sure about it, but I think it has nuclear capabilities also. So this is
Okay. You can differentiate between Arihant class and Scorpion class submarines.
sorry, sir. I don't know.
Okay. Explain nuclear deterrence.
Sir, it means a nation develops the capacity, the nuclear capacity that
Minimum nuclear deterrence.
minimum nuclear deterrence. Sir, if we are attacked from nuclear weapons, if there is a nuclear attack on India, then we have the second attack ability on that.
So what is minimum?
Sir, I don't know about the exact.
Whether this minimum or minimal word is there right now, or it has been
yes.
taken away in 2017.
Sir, I think it is there only, but debate has been going on
It has been
recently.
taken away. It has been taken away. Carnegie School of Thought had learned it for the first time.
Okay,
We created hue and cry.
Okay,
And
sir.
our nukes have increased to 160 now.
Okay, sir.
We have an intention to increase to 350.
Okay, sir.
विपिन, हेमचंद्र विक्रमादित्य के बारे में कुछ बताइए.
Sir, Hemchandra Vikramaditya was a market superintendent during the time of the Sher Shahi dynasty when Sher Shah Suri was ruling.
हरियाणा के किस डिस्ट्रिक्ट से थे हेमचंद्र?
Sir, I think it was Rewari, but I'm not very sure about it.
You are right. रेवाड़ी.
Yes, sir.
हेमचंद्र विक्रमादित्य.
Yes, sir.
विक्रमादित्य टाइटल एंशिएंट टाइम पर भी बहुत सारे रूलर्स ने अडॉप्ट किए हैं.
Yes, sir.
विक्रमादित्य का मीनिंग क्या है?
Sir, I think it was a major title. If we go into the meaning, Vikram means somebody who has the great valor, and Aditya is referred to as sun. So it is majorly corresponding to a king who ascended to the position of Samrat.
Any 2 rulers who adopted this title in ancient time?
Sir, one was Chandragupta of Gupta.
Chandragupta 1 or 2?
Sir, Chandragupta 2.
2.
Yes, sir. And
Other?
Sorry, sir, I'm not able.
Skandagupta or Kumargupta?
Sir Skandgupt, I think.
स्कंदगुप्त.
Yes.
विपिन, गुरुग्राम में इनसाइड एंड आउटसाइडर की बहुत ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम है.
Yes, sir.
क्या प्रॉब्लम है एंड इसका सॉल्यूशन क्या हो सकता है?
Sir, as Gurugram is a very huge growth potential and it has emerged as a very large metropolis in the past few decades, the issue is that it attracts people from everywhere to find employment, especially in IT sector, and it attracts employment for flower of places because IT sector is like that. So it creates a bit of friction in the local employment market. The local people feel they are being discriminated against and they are getting left out in the employment prospects that our state, our city is
Do you see
generating.
it as a social problem or cultural problem?
Sir, I think it is more of economic problem rather from social or cultural point of view. It may arise, social cultural issues may arise due to it, but majorly I think sir it is an economic problem.
Young man, you have prepared your budget, which is about to be there on 30th of this month.
No sir, not actually.
Okay. Somebody have taught you earlier?
No sir.
Okay. Three things I have to ask about Haryana.
Yes sir.
The very first one, if a state is having all of a sudden some RSS member as the chief minister,
Yes sir.
immediately afterward, all-weather politician, Huda,
Yes sir.
it's good for the state or something it's bad had happened.
Yes sir.
What's your opinion on it? Imposing, paratrooping a person from the RSS is not having direct, you can say, political maneuvering, and almost Haryana is on the verge of a political collapse. Maybe 2024 elections will be over there.
Yes sir.
It's good for the party, it's good for the people, it's good for the development.
Sir, sorry sir, actually I didn't get what exactly did you want to say.
I just want to see what you take onto it. If the leaders are paratrooped like this,
Okay, from others, leaders are not local
paratrooped
leaders.
from RSS.
From RSS, okay sir. Sir, I think in any polity and democracy, the final decision lies with the people. So, if they are being paratrooped from any organization, it is up to their party and their organization to decide that. But in the end, it is up to the people whether they like it or they do not like it. The final decision will be with them. So I think we have to trust our maturity of our democrat and electorate, that they know what is best suited to them.
If you have to compare it there with the previous chief minister,
Sir, I think I'm not in a position to make such a
you're
statement.
trying to be diplomatic. Isn't it? Anyhow, what is this Modi doctrine? And what is this Gujarat development model that is being implemented here in India?
Sir, I think every state has its own growth story, but I slightly disagree that Gujarat model is being remodeled across India. I think it is a very diverse country, and I think Honorable Prime Minister or the senior bureaucrats.
I will define it. I will define it. You see whether it's implemented or not.
Okay, sir.
This Gujarat model is having 4 aspects. You have heard about the central wisdom?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Keep this thing in mind, and Statue of Unity also keep in mind.
Yes, sir.
Gujarat model says small government,
Yes, sir.
more governance.
Okay, sir.
Plus, the government is going to look after the poor people
Yes, sir.
by distributing freebies
Okay.
by different names, not the reveries.
Okay.
And the private sector is going to look after the middle class and the elite people there. Right? And there is no place for the Babu Don, obdurate, जो कठोर हैं, those who are least bothered for the people lined up, queued up over there. Plus the projects of vanity. That's what is happening here in India. It's being implemented. Somewhere the government is thinking about implementing it there at the world level by persuading the masses over there. They've got a platform of G20 also. Now go ahead with this. It is being implemented. You're still connected with the question?
Yes, sir. Sir, I think even if we take this doctrine forward, the major focus has to be on poverty alleviation and the upliftment of the masses. I think that is something that any doctrine would like to fulfill. So, uh, if it is.
Any three aspects?
Yes, sir.
I will just name three aspects over there. The very first one is Vasudevaya Kutumbakam.
Yes, sir.
Second one is Sarvodhyaya,
Yes, sir.
right? And that is somewhat the part of Deen Dayal Upadhyay's program of
Yes, sir.
integral humanism.
Yes, sir.
Whether you are able to define integral humanism also there.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, please.
So, sir, first of all, if I look at the G20 and the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, so it is in line with what India envisions for the global world. That world is a one world. We have a one family, and we have to got one future for that.
But
So-
India abstains in most of the cases. It did not speak its mind in the case of Ukraine, Syria. So what about the global village there? We reserve our opinion to ourselves.
Yes, sir.
We are not calling spade a spade. We are not saying this is right, this is wrong, this is yin, this is yang.
Yes, sir.
Or we do not believe in Taoism.
Yes, sir. Sir, actually, when we have a global vision, but at the same time, we have to look after our national interests also. So we
It
can.
means that India is selfish.
No, sir.
Or you
Yes,
want to
sir.
say the interests are permanent, friends and foes, they keep on changing.
Yes, sir. No, sir. Actually, we take everything in better spirit. What is better for us. But sir, as the history has shown to us, I think it is very important that we should take the global leadership. We should work for the world as a one family. But at the same time, we should also look after our national interests also. It should not be like that that we are entangled in promoting some idealistic values at the global level, but at the same time, our own national interest is injured in during that process. And until and unless we are a strong nation, we can decide the global agenda, or we can pursue something positive in the global contentious issues as well.
Alright, you
Yes.
want to say that it's justified when we persuade Bangladesh not to give subsidies to their people to rule out the intense competition between jute products. Interest, it's interest there.
Yes, sir. If it is there, so I think, sir, it is national interest, but I am not aware of this, if anything like that has happened. I was talking about the larger global perspective, such as the Ukraine crisis or that.
Okay, Ukraine crisis, whether NATO has, made Ukraine a guinea pig.
Sir, we cannot say that they have made it a guinea pig. It was up to it was up to Ukraine to join NATO, and it was their own sovereign decision to do that. So,
Okay, what is this Wales Pledge 2014? I'm going to connect the things over there. Maybe you will be able to give me the real answer.
sorry, sir, I
Okay, I
don't
will
know about
define
that.
it there.
Sir.
Wales Pledge is NATO's kind of rider for every government country the member is to spend 2% of the GDP onto the defense.
Okay, sir.
Somewhere there was a reluctance,
Yes, sir.
a hyper environment had been created.
Mhm.
Every country is rushing to spend that 2% when the Ukraine war had started,
Okay, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
So Viktor Zelensky,
Yes, sir.
who himself is a mimic,
Yes, sir.
somewhere we find that he has taken 4 crore people
Sir.
into the confidence. When a country yokes its people for the fight,
Yes, sir.
this is the biggest crime that that person had done,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
So again, I'm going to repeat my question over there. Whether Ukraine is to be designated as a puppet, as a stooge of the NATO
Yes, sir.
to fulfill its desires,
Yes, sir.
since it was on the cards that the war is going to take place since 2014 when Crimea was annexed.
Next. Yes, sir.
Now you want to redesign your answer?
No, sir, I will stand by my earlier answer. Sir,
Well, you did not give any answer over there.
sir, but to just say that they were a guinea pig because it wanted to become a part of NATO. So, sir, in the end, it was their own decision whether they wanted to join NATO or not. And if earlier they had faced such a kind of, I would say, annexation was being done.
Let's take a
aggression.
parallel example of Venezuela.
Yes, sir.
1/10 of the population of Venezuela is suffering on the outskirts of the country as a non-state actor.
Yes,
Who
sir.
is responsible for that? It's USA, it's Nicolas Maduro himself, or the people?
Sir, if I'm completely getting, I think it's an economic crisis, or I'm actually not getting.
It's okay, it's all right over there. What about the sincerity of USA about India when 700 years have passed, sorry, days have passed
Yes, sir.
since Biden has turned out to be the president?
Yes, sir.
We are not having even an ambassador
Yes, sir.
in our country out there of the USA, though we have signed 4 defense deals with USA. And USA is yoking us into the Indo-Pacific strategy
Yes, sir.
and making us an integral part of from African eastern coast to the western coast of USA.
Yes, sir.
What's the reason behind it? Why the US is not serious about this having an ambassador here in India? 700 days have passed over there.
Sir, I think it is up to the US to decide whether they want it or not want it. I cannot go into that technicality. But I think, sir, if we look from India's perspective, India has to pursue this partnership according to our interest that will give benefit to us in the future. For example, you talk about the technology transfers. So I think it is a truth that our defense.
Okay, defense technology.
Yes, sir. So that will benefit us in our research and development.
What is the size of Indian diaspora in USA?
Uh,
I give you 4 options.
yes, sir.
It's 40 lakh, 45 lakh, 50 lakh, 55 lakh.
Sorry, sir, I'm not completely aware of the numbers, exactly the numbers.
45 lakh over there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, in SCO, which is going to take place here in India in the month of May,
Yes, sir.
giving an invitation to Pakistan,
Yes, sir.
especially when we're going to see this Bilawal Bhutto onto the stage.
Yes, sir.
What do you think? That how the Indian masses are going to react? Do you anticipate some, sloganing outside the venue?
Sir, there may be, it cannot be ruled out from law and order perspective. It may arouse some emotions in India, so that cannot be completely ruled out. But I think that is for the law and order and the security agencies to handle. And secondly, sir, I think it is very important, we are getting a presidency of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, that we give everybody the chance to be a to participate in this meeting. Because as Honorable Prime Minister has said, we are entering into the Amrit Kal of our independence. We envision ourselves as a developed and a mature country.
In this Amrit Kal,
Yes, sir.
this is Project 75 India
Yes, sir.
on submarines. We are going to abdicate it. It's not working well
On
because
submarine.
France has stopped, you can say, giving us the technology transfer pledge that it has made earlier.
Yes, sir.
And only one contender is there to pass on the technology, that is South Korea, and we are not interested.
Okay, sir.
So this Amrit Kal first P75I is going to be abdicated.
Sir, but even in this Amrit Kal, if I go into one of the target, it is that we have to set big goals for our development. And even if we fail in achieving them, but we have to work for them, we have to at least set a vision for us. Sir, success and failure is a different story, but first of all, this mindset has to be corrected, that we are going to set bigger goals for us now. If we get success, it is very much better. If we are not, if we are facing some hurdles, I think that can be resolved. But only when we have that vision, we have
Our
that
mindset
will
is,
to do so.
our mindset is positive in developing a strange kind of development model in Joshimath.
Sir, I think that has been a contentious thing, because this encroachment issue has been major problem there.
Encroachment by the people.
Sir, by the people, but I think the regulation and the plans that had to be made, that was a bit inefficient at that moment. It could not meet the rising challenges of climate change, I would say. The urban planning was not up to that mark, where we could...
What about the projects? The tidal channels, the tidal tunnels?
Yes, sir.
And what about, this one, Pancheshwar Dam onto Mahakali River? It's nearly 6,000 megawatt.
Yes, sir.
Total 6,000 Uttarakhand is producing, only Pancheshwar is producing 5 to 6,000 megawatt. It's 5730 megawatt over there. So such kind of projects are supposed to be there in a state.
So actually that is the dichotomy. Uttarakhand is a small state with limited resources.
What's the population?
Sir, I think I'm not completely sure about it, but it's less than 1 crore or
It is 1.5 crores.
1.5 crores.
0.5.
1.05 crores. So at the first time we have
And
to.
how many visitors visit? More than 3 crores.
Sir, I'm not sure about it.
It is it's
okay,
more
it's
than 3 crores.
it's
people
more than
visit
3
in
crores.
3 to 4 months.
Yes, sir.
It's kind of the situation what we have in the France.
Yes, sir.
France is having a population of 6 crores and 8 crore people are visiting over there.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead with this.
So, sir, at the one time we have to meet the aspirations of the people. We have to work on the developmental agenda. If the dams were created, hydel dams were created, the foremost objective of the government would have been to provide for the energy security to the state.
Solar power is the best option over there.
But sir, I think solar power has just started from the last decade or so. It has gained that momentum. Earlier, solar power was not, especially the technology was not available. So from the, I think these dams have been created much before that.
But
If
someone
I
has told, maybe this is the lady who has written The God of Small Things.
Yes, sir.
Who's that lady there?
Uh,
Arundhati
Arundhati Roy,
She said
sir.
that all these dams are the weapons of mass destruction.
Sir, I think that would be a bit
And,
in excess.
and
if
there
we
is
say.
a person,
Yes,
Rajinder Singh, he said that
yes, sir.
नदी को सम्मान दो,
Yes, sir.
दो काम करो, उसका जो ओरिजिनल जो उसका फ्लो है ना उसको मेंटेन करो,
Yes, sir.
और नदी को साफ करने के बजाय नदी को गंदा करने वाला हाथ पकड़ो आप,
Yes, sir.
नदी अपने आप साफ हो जाएगी. कोरोना काल में देखा ना हमने ना,
Yes, sir.
you know, so clear, we were able to see all the 3 ranges of Himalayas from here only there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, name the 3 faults which are in the news. They're into the Joshimath case over there.
Sorry, sir, I can't follow.
All right, all right. Let's talk about the Saraswati River.
Yes, sir.
Though it's a history
Yes, sir.
question over there, is it a reality or a myth? If it is resurrected,
Yes, sir.
what 3 things you find that is going to ameliorate economy of Haryana?
Sir, actually there have been research going over the Saraswati River
Research had already been
and
taken
taken
place.
place and
NABARD is there, ISRO is there, Bhabha is there,
Yes,
NASA is also part of it.
yes, sir.
There are 6 major agencies are working over it.
Yes, sir.
Webcoast is also working on it.
Yes, sir.
It has been fixed up. They said there was a river over there. Let's talk about the 3 things which Haryana is going to be benefited out of it.
Sir, first of all, Haryana is an agricultural state, so if Saraswati is ameliorated, so I
What
think
is
it is
the
a,
agriculture intensity?
I think 80% around
It's
land is
78. Okay, go ahead.
Sir, so it will be major boost to our agriculture, especially the belt of northern Haryana, which is devoid of any major river system, the north central Haryana. So secondly, it has cultural aspect, and as we are celebrating International Hita Festival in Kurukshetra and there, so I think we can develop a whole cultural economy surrounding the river Saraswati. Then, sir, thirdly, I think it will be, as we earlier said, that rivers are getting polluted or like that. So I think it will be a good message for the masses to adopt that we should respect our rivers, because I think that can create an emotional impact among the population, and that we can, if we use the mass awareness campaigns and targeted campaigns, it can be used to generate awareness about the usage of river water and not to pollute them. So I think, sir, these 3 can be
Great.
things.
Suppose if we tame Ghaggar River,
Yes, sir.
on occasions it's having its span ranging up to 10 kilometers during the monsoon months.
Yes, sir.
It's having enough of waters to fulfill the need of not 1 or 2 number of states,
Yes, sir.
if it is harnessed to the maximum.
Okay, sir.
Still it is advisable to ask for water from Punjab on SYL.
Sir, I think it is apt for Haryana to ask for its rightful share of water from the Satluj Yamuna Lake. It is better if we boost our own potential, if from Ghaggar if we can tame it. But secondly, I think it will also be better if we get our rightful share from Punjab also.
What is the riparian right?
Sir, the river passes through whichever states. Each state has its own usage or the own, as we say, share
Do
over
you
that.
think that Indus Water Treaty 1960 is a handicap for Haryana also?
Sir, I think that we cannot say exactly because that was an international treaty and
You are holding yourself from giving answers over there. Be more elaborative.
okay, sir. Sir, I think India and Pakistan had their own consultative program at that moment. So I think Pakistan also had a rightful share over the riparian zone of Indus
You
River.
are giving 80% of the water. It's the most liberal treaty into the history of world.
Yes, sir. So, sir, I think if we are really facing an issue over the distribution, I think a new assessment can be made.
Should we abrogate it?
No, sir. No, abrogation should not be the solution.
What is anachronism? Anachronistic. Sometimes we say Indus Water Treaty is anachronistic.
Sorry, sir, I'm
And
not aware.
spell sovereignty.
Sovereignty. Maybe, sir, but I'm not completely sure about it. I've not
Try
heard
it, man. Try it.
it.
You're holding back your ideas. I'm telling you. Right from the very first question.
Yes, sir. Sir, I think that can be the
I just asked you for the spelling of sovereignty there.
sir, SOVREIGNIT.
It will catch you afterwards. Sir.
Are you aware of the controversy between center and judiciary, executive and judiciary?
Yes, sir.
What is that all about?
Sir, it is about the collegium system. The collegium system is a process of appointment and transfer of Supreme Court and High Court judges, and the government, it is mostly done by the judges itself. Now the government wants that in the entire process there should be a government nominee also who is involved in the selection and appointment of judges. So there is a constant friction between both.
But we have seen the executive is appointing the judges.
Yes, sir.
As the executive is already appointing the judges, so where the fault line is in the system?
Sir, it looks from superficial level that the executive that president appoints the judges, but after the first judge's case in 1992, the Supreme Court made it very clear that the concurrence that the president, the consultation mechanism that was with the Chief Justice of India, which he had to recommend to the Honorable President of India. Now this consultation is a concurrence. Whatever the collegium will send to the president, Honorable President can only send one time reconsideration to the collegium. But if it is sent to the Honorable President again, he has to give his consent.
It is in second judge's case.
Okay, sir. Sorry, thank you, sir, for correcting.
So what will you suggest apart from collegium? Yeah, what is the way forward of collegium? If we have to do away with collegium, what will be the next best possible solution for it?
Sir, I don't think we need any drastic change in it. The actual question involved here is, even which government is stressing about, that the whole system is a bit non-transparent. Because there is no country where judges appoint judges thing happens. So it is important that we open up this issue, that if a government appointee is appointed in it, so let us make this issue much more open to the public scrutiny. That for example, the National Judicial Appointment Commission Act that was passed by the government, we can make a draft from there, and I think it's an issue of deliberation between both the organs, between the executive and judiciary. So I think the separation of power, but I think coordination is also somewhere required. So
As we know, Haryana is always stated as a highway economy.
yes, sir.
But when we penetrate deep into 50 kilometers
Yes, sir.
into the villages,
Yes, sir.
we see no sign of any economic development there.
Yes, sir.
So what will be your take on this?
Sir, I think it will be wrong to say that there is no economic development. We have developed a lot. It's a huge journey, and I think
It's wrong, but it's less right.
less or right.
It's a wrong, but it's less right.
The statement I passed, is it wrong or less right?
Less right. So I think it is less right, I would say.
We object this word wrong.
Okay, yes, sir. So, sir, it is the villages have economically developed, but the issue is as the economy is changing, sir. It's a 20. I mean, we are in a digital revolution period nowadays. So the market is asking for new demands. It is creating new demands, new jobs, new employment prospects. So I think the village economy is not able to catch up to the new realities. That is where we see this issue. Otherwise, if you look at the other parameters, I think we are well off than many other
And
states.
what is development according to you?
Sir, development is a very huge, it's a very wide uh, statement, if I would say. It's a very wide program. According to me, sir, the opportunities that are created in terms of anything, whether it is the services that are employment is generated or infrastructure is created, it should not create gap between any rural or urban area or between people. It should be inclusive.
Don't you see any discrimination between India and Bharat?
Sir, definitely there is a gap, and I think uh, it is important that we address that gap as soon as possible. And I think that has been the thrust of government also, that we have to bridge this gap as soon as possible.
For this, you would like to use entitlement or empowerment?
Sir, I would say empowerment.
Empowerment.
Yes, sir.
We have seen the mention of Khap Panchayats in Haryana.
Yes, sir.
What are these Khap Panchayats? And in Rohtak itself,
Yes, sir.
it is called we can say that it is the hub of Khap Panchayats.
Yes, sir. Sir, actually, Khap Panchayat is a social institution. We can trace it to the lineage-based system that used to be there from the ancient time.
Any other word for the lineage?
Sir, clan, descent,
Genealogy.
genealogy, yes, sir, that is also the word. So it has various functions. It has provided for the society for a long period of time. It is legal functions, the social apparatus. It was controlled by the Khap Panchayats and all that. So, but it has done a lot of work also.
Can you please tell us
Sir.
what works have Khap Panchayat done?
Sir, I think that there are manifold works. For example, that as we say, the developmental paradigm of village economy. So Khap Panchayats have really contributed in that. So that self-sufficiency and kind of Atmanirbharta that we see in villages, Khap Panchayats have contributed in that. But at the same time, it is also known that the systems that Khap Panchayats follow, although they are also progressing and changing themselves through the changing times, but they are often not in consonance with our modern human values and the modern law systems. So kind of also against certain sections of our society, especially the marginalized and women.
It's consonance or conformity?
Sir, what?
It's a consonance or conformity.
Sir,
C-O-N-F-O-R-M-I-T-Y.
sir, in consonance, I would say.
What do you mean by the term integrity?
Sir, integrity means I am fully committed to my work principles, and I will not succumb to any immoral pressures that are being given to me or any unethical terms that are offered to me to gain my personal interest over my professional work.
And what is honesty?
Sir, honesty is being truthful. But it is not a conflict between my professional and personal life. Integrity is about what I prefer most. If I have to choose my personal life and professional life,
Okay,
if I...
okay, if I use three words over here,
Yes, sir.
in consonance,
Yes, sir.
id, ego, superego,
Yes,
which
sir.
one admonishes? कौन झड़कियाँ देती है?
Sir,
You can have with sentence.
When did you last attend the college? In which year?
sir, it was in 2019.
19, and after that?
Sir, I will be preparing for civil service.
So 5 years.
No, sir, 3 years.
We are in 2023.
Yes, sir.
You have not been working anywhere.
No, sir, not exactly.
So what is your plan B?
Sir, right now there is no plan B for me.
He does lots of yoga, isn't it?
Yes, sir, I do. So, right now I have no plan B with me.
Are you also preparing UPSC?
Yes, sir, I am preparing for UPSC.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
then in future you would switch to UPSC?
If you'll get selected.
Sir, if I get a position that I think it's best of my capabilities that I can serve, so I don't think I will switch to UPSC. If I'm here and can serve my people, I think that will be the best opportunity I can avail.
Even your optional is history.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is Shruti and Smriti
Yes, sir.
and epics?
Yes, sir. Sir, Shruti is heard literature, such as Vedas. They are Shrutis because they were heard. Then, sir, Smritis are written in. They're in written form.
What is the meaning of Smriti?
Sir, to remember.
Okay.
Sir, such as Dharma Shastras, Dharma Sutras, they are part of Smriti literature. Then, sir, the third is epics. Epics, sir, we have, we may say it is mythology or like that, such as Ramayana, Mahabharata. They are the long stories which have a number of, they have a...
Okay, Vipin, what is the difference between Ramayana and Mahabharata?
Sir, I would say, if I take it from the moral perspective, in Mahabharata, we look at the more decline in the moral values of society.
Mahabharata.
Yes, sir.
And what about Ramayana?
Sir, it is much more about idealism. The
Don't
best
you see
ideas.
in Ramayana the conflict between North and South?
No, sir, it was not.
Brahman and Kshatriya.
Kshatriya.
No, sir.
Okay, and what's the difference between Ramayana and Ramcharitmanas?
Sir, Ramayana is a complete story which involves every character. In Ramayana that we read, there is Ram, there is Sita. But in Ramcharitmanas, there is a complete focus given on Ram. And he's being presented as a divine incarnation. So that story transforms into a personality cult, we may say. In a way.
Okay, nowadays Ramayana
Yes, sir.
is in news. One of its topai,
Yes, sir.
ढोल पशु शूद्र नारी सकल तारण के अधिकारी.
Yes, sir.
Explain it.
Sir, in literal meaning, it means that the people who are Shudras, who are women, and I'm not aware of the first term that you mentioned, sir. Sorry for that.
शूद्र पशु ढोल और नारी
Yes,
सकल
sir.
तारण के अधिकारी.
So these the four communities, they should be controlled every time.
What is the meaning of ताड़न?
That is a form of control.
Control.
That you need to control them.
Or look after, or rhythm.
It may be, sir, but as far as I am aware and to the best of my knowledge, I think it is control.
Okay. Language difference between Ramayana and Mahabharata? Sorry, Ramayana and Ramcharitmanas. What is the language of Ramayana
Sir, I'm not sure about it, but it is Sanskrit.
and Ramcharitmanas?
Sir, it is in Avdi.
When Ramcharitmanas was written, Tulsidas ji, he was basically a Brahmin,
Yes.
but by then he was very poor.
Yes, sir.
He lived a life of a Shudra.
Yes, sir.
Whether this way of living is reflected into his Ramayana?
Sir, in a way, I think, I don't think, sir, that is reflected. It is much more concentrated on Ram and the idealism that should be there in society. If he was a poor, if I take that he was living as a Shudra.
In Tulsidas ji's cult
Yes, sir.
development,
Yes, sir.
why it's so chauvinistic?
Sorry, sir.
Why it's so chauvinistic, male oriented?
Sir, I think we cannot say that exactly.
He said that, Bachchan. He said that.
Sir, I think, but the context, I think it is up to us how we interpret it. That is the problem with our ancient texts and all. That interpretation can be in very different ways. So I think that can be one form of interpretation. But I think, sir, there can be different interpretations also.
I'm
of
going
that.
to ask a very sensitive question. If you feel like not answering,
Yes, sir.
do not answer.
Yes, sir.
If Muslims
Yes, sir.
react,
Yes, sir.
Hindus will be both polarized.
Yes, sir.
What's your take on it?
Sir, to what certain incident are we talking about? Is Ramcharitmanas only if Muslims rape?
It's in general.
In general.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
14.2% population as
Yes.
per 2011
Yes,
census.
sir.
Never stands across 79.8% population.
Yes,
They
sir.
know if they react, they will be more polarized.
Yes, sir. So the Hindus will be more polarized with the Muslims. Right?
Exactly.
Okay, sir. Sir, I think that's the social and political dynamics, and this is what communalism is all about. If I view it from that perspective.
There is a political terror scale.
Yes, sir.
It is already there on stage 4
Yes, sir.
that suggests
Mhm.
that things are happening on that part. So on hunger scale, on hunger index, on freedom of press index,
Yes, sir.
right? Everywhere we are trailing,
Yes, sir.
and we are heading towards a chaotic situation here in India,
Yes, sir.
especially when BBC is continuously releasing the stuff
Yes, sir.
and then making Indian diaspora insecure onto the international platform also there.
Yes, sir.
It's highly inexplicable for the diaspora to explain
Yes, sir.
that yes, India is not like this over there.
Yes, sir.
So keeping all these things in mind,
Yes, sir.
do you think that ultranationalism is on the rise?
Sir, I do not think that it is the case
so
actually.
you diplomatic right from the very first moment over there. Okay, someone has gone for an RTI
Yes, sir.
and asked the Ministry of Home Affairs,
Yes, sir.
how do you define urban nationalism? They said there is no such term.
Yes, sir.
Then there was another RTI, they asked the Ministry of Home Affairs
Yes, sir.
that how do you define Tukde gang?
Yes, sir.
They said there is no such term, we are not
Yes.
having any kind of definition
Yes.
here. Right? Keeping
Yes.
all this in mind
Yes.
here. Any two strategies
Yes, sir.
bringing Naxalites
Yes, sir.
in the heart of India
Yes, sir.
to the mainstream, what do you suggest?
To bring them into the mainstream.
Yeah, of course.
uh,
Other than the way BJP had done by introducing Salwa Zadoon.
Yes, sir. Sir, I.
You know, nationalism was
Yes, Naxalism.
at a rise in 1960s, 70s in the part of Haryana when it was not there.
Yes, sir.
So it's a creation of 1966, huh? Before that there was nationalism in the parts of Haryana.
You know about Roshni project?
No, sir, I'm not aware about it. No, sir, if I'm correct, I think it is about empowering minority women education. I'm not very sure about it, but I think it
What
is.
is Roshni of JNK?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Roshni project, sir.
We have 4
Asha.
varnas in society.
Yes,
Can you
sir.
please name them?
Sir, Brahmin, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Shudra.
Is there any example where a Kshatriya has killed a Brahman and it has been
It's not in order.
No, it was not in order.
Yes, sir, actually, I. Yes.
Is there any example in the historical context that where a Kshatriya has killed a Brahman and it has been celebrated? Violating the orders
Kshatriya killing a Brahmin.
and it has been celebrated.
Sir,
As you are a
With
historical
lots of chest thumping also there.
I can't recall this incident, sir.
Okay, what is urban flooding?
Sir, urban flooding is basically when some extreme weather events take place, especially when the precipitation levels reach a record. We receive more than the precipitation level in a very short span of time.
That is cloudburst, Bache.
Yes, sir.
That is cloudburst.
But sir, I was actually coming to my point. If I'm correct, our urban drainage system is not able to deal with that. It is over. The capacity is highly under.
I'll give you an example there.
Yes, sir.
It's a month of July, it's date 5th, 2005.
Yes, sir.
Capacity to dispose civic waters
Yes,
is 4.5 centimeters.
Yes, sir.
Mumbai had received
Yes, sir.
12 centimeters per hour rainfall.
Yes, sir.
That's an urban flooding there.
Yes.
So Gurgaon is facing urban flooding
Sir, yes.
and
there
it is
is-
the epicenter of economic development of the state.
Yes, sir.
Aren't they both contradictory to each other? That a district is minting you money and you are not looking at the people there.
So actually that has been the case, that the growth has surpassed our capacity of cities. This is actually, we need rejuvenation of our cities, and we have to make them world class so that they can cater to the demand of growth and the prospects of business and investment that is coming.
But Gurgaon had a lot of time, because down the line 20 years it was just an agricultural land.
Yes, sir. So, sir, I can't go into that why it couldn't match to it. Maybe at that time it was not, it could not be predicted that it will grow so fast, because in the last decade or so, the IT economy has boomed in Gurugram.
Can you spell rejuvenate?
Sir, REJUVENAT.
It's fine. So sovereignty was not correct. This is correct.
This is correct.
And can you relate urban flooding with the natural ponds?
Yes, sir. Sir, it has been seen that when natural ponds are being diverted away for some other purposes, the capacity of the surface to absorb the rainwater decreases, and that is one of the major reasons why urban flooding is happening.
And which state is having Balram Talab Yojana?
Balram Talab Yojana.
जल है तो कल है, जल सत्याग्रह, देवास के भागीरथ.
Sorry, sir.
Devas is the good clue for you.
Devas.
Yeah. And the CM of that state is called everywhere Mamaji. He was there into the Vyapam case also there.
Shivra, Madhya Pradesh. Sir.
As we have been seeing, governor,
Yes,
the
sir.
position of governor is highly controversial.
Yes, sir.
What are your views on it?
Sir, it is a constitutional position, and governor is very important. It serves as a link between the union and the state. So there can be contentions about the increasing powers or interference of the governor in state matters, but I think that can be discussed. But I think there is no issue why there is no reason why we should not hold governor in sacrosanct nature. He is the